Oh, so we're live now?
We are live.
Good start, yes.
Excellent. Well done to me. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the GTHub podcast for the first of many of the 2018 season. I am Forzar18, and joining me is Roblo97, otherwise
Guten Tag.
Joshua Jones Commentary.
Hello?
And for this week, and possibly for many more weeks to come, please welcome Sith,
Hello.
otherwise known as Ollie.
Porsche.
Yes.
And
Otherwise
there's this
known
customary
as Porsche.
mating call. Yes, but starting off on the right foot here, we will be going straight into the race that happened of the weekend, which was the Dubai 3x3 hours for the Creventic series.
Yes, well,
And-
it was actually 3 races, of course. It was three 3-hour races. And to be honest,
Hence the 3x3 hours.
yes. To be honest, I was expecting it to be a lot worse than it was, but there did appear to be drama in all 3 of the races. And that was not what I was expecting, but that's what we got. So I'm very glad about that. It was a good way to start the year. Yes, there were only 8 entries and only 7 of them started race 1. But to be honest, we did get a talking point from all 3 of the races. So, did any of you see race 1? I did.
I saw a good majority of race 1. That was the only one I saw all the way through, pretty much.
Right, well, let's start with race 1. So, unfortunately, before the start of race 1, the number 4, Janetta, which was one of only 2 P2 entries, had to pull out of the race due to damaging its chassis in practice by running over a curb. And I'm still not entirely sure how that happens, but unfortunately, that is how it happened. So that meant that there was only going to be 1 P2 entry, and everyone expected it to run away. But that really wasn't the case, because at the start of the race, it was John Corbett in the number 6 car. And of course, John Corbett, no offence to him, is an amateur and not one of the quickest amateurs. But it was a brilliant performance from Jack Boutel in the number 3, I think. Number 22, don't know where I got 3 from. The number 22 Ligier P3 car to take the lead quite early on. And in the end, Corbett actually ended up getting demoted by the number 44 as well, with Giacomo Piccini, Michael Bronichevsky behind the wheel as well. And almost got demoted by a CN car at the same time. CN, of course, being the bottom class. And that would have been a very embarrassing way to start the race, but that wasn't, in the end, what happened. And when Neil Muston and Mike Simpson took over the number 6 Janetta, the car suddenly found a bit of pace again. But it did come down to the final 5 minutes before a winner was decided, when the 6 Janetta did eventually manage to get back past the number 22 Ligier. But to be honest, it was a lot closer than we were all expecting it to be.
Yes, it was unfortunately only 7 cars, so yeah, but still good racing, regardless. I don't think any of us saw the second or third races, other than you, possibly. So briefly give us a rundown on that one, if you could.
I did not see the second race. I
Or not. Okay, that works too.
I saw a bit, like, I've seen the photo finish between the 2 CM1 cars in the CM1 class, between the 2 Craft Racing Normas, and I'm not entirely sure who came out ahead in that. I should probably check the results. I have the results page, jolly good. So, well, I should go back to race 1 first, because I didn't read out the overall results. So
yeah, that might be good.
Right, 7 cars. We had the number 6 Simpson Motorsport Janetta won that, and hence won the P2 class as well. The P3 class and second place overall was taken by the Graf Racing P3 car. The In third spot was actually the CM1 leader, so we had 3 different classes on the podium, and that was the Craft Racing, or the first Craft Racing car, the number 98. In fourth place was the number 177 AUH Motorsport Radical. In fifth place was the 48 Spirit of Race P3 Ligier. In sixth place, and not actually crossing the line after a mechanical failure on the front straight, was the number 97 Craft Racing Norma, and in seventh place was the number 22 Speedworks Motorsport Ligier. Now, on to race 2, of course, which none of us saw. I'm actually finding out the results for the very first time here.
Well done.
When I find the overall, there's the overall result. Right, so the number 4 Ginetta was back in style with a win. Simpson Motorsport, of course, owning both Ginettas, but it was the number 4 that beat its teammate, the number 6, by 2 minutes actually. So quite a difference there. In third place was the number 22 P3 car again, so that's another win for the 22 in that class. And the 97 won the CN class in fourth position, so the 97 winning that, making it 1-1 for the Craft Racing cars, with the 98 in fifth. Sixth was the Graph Racing number 44, seventh was the 48 Spirit of Race car, and eighth was the AUH Motorsport Radical. And finally, race 3. Now, I was saying before this podcast that we had a very exciting finish to the third race, of course. And I will explain that now, actually, because none of you saw this. I know this for a fact. Well, unless you've been lying, of course, but never mind. So basically, the 2 Ginettas, of course, were leading the race, and it was the number 6 ahead of the number 4. Or was it? Have I just got them completely the wrong way round? It might have been the number 4.
Oh dear.
Number 6. I'm going to check the order. Okay, so it was the number 4. It was the number 4 leading the race, coming into the last couple of minutes of the race. However, it did have a 14-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. The gap as they went on to the final lap was 16 seconds, so the number 6 had to gain 2 seconds to win the race. And it really didn't look as if they were going to do it until the very final corner, when the number 4 Ginetta ran out of fuel. It ran out of fuel, and it coasted across the line, admittedly in first place, 11 seconds ahead. So, in terms of the actual finished result, when the order was sorted out because of the penalty, it was the number 6 Ginetta who had basically taken the lead on the final corner of the race.
Right, okay.
So a very dramatic finish there, and it was the number 6 that won it, from the number 4, of course, coasting across the line with no fuel left. The number 22 was third, again, that's the P3 winner, getting a clean sweep there. Fourth place was the number 44 Graph car, fifth place was the number 48 Spirit of Race car, sixth place was the CN1 class winner, the 98 Craft Racing, so that's 2 out of 3 for the 98. Number 7 was the 97 Craft Racing car, and 8th place was the 177 CN1 AUH Motorsport Radical. So that is a brief summary of a very clean weekend of racing, actually. Not a single accident in it, for the 3x3 Proto Series at Dubai.
Very, very well done. Well succinct summary there. For something that most of us did not see, but well done. A series that, on its merits, probably is a good idea, but I'm just not sure why it hasn't taken off, really.
To be honest,
but that's an issue for another day, I suppose.
That's something that the commentators were talking about all weekend, because admittedly, people have been waiting for a just prototype endurance series for a very long time. And I remember people talking about it even before this came along. And now just no one's joined it. We've got the same number of entries as we did last year, and the grid's tiny. So
I don't know. It's a mystery to me, but not like there's a shortage of prototypes out there, but I don't know.
I know, especially in the LMP3 and CN classes as well.
Well, there's lots of LMP2 and PC cars that will be very, very quick around some tracks. But moving past that, we shall move very swiftly onto the very cold and chilly conditions that were experienced at the Roar before the Rolex 24 tests.
Cold?
It was Florida. It was snowy there and cold. Have you not been seeing the conditions across all of the eastern seaboard here in the US?
No, not really. I mean, what temperatures are we talking about here?
There's an interesting story about this actually. I was on the YouTube chat, of course, during the 3x3 prototype races, talking with someone who was obviously from America. I don't know what part of America, but they said, "Oh, it's 2 degrees Fahrenheit outside," and I said, "Don't you mean 2 degrees Celsius?" And he said, "No, Fahrenheit." And
yeah,
that
that's how frozen it is there.
What's that?
That's how frozen it is across certain parts. It's 2 degrees Fahrenheit.
That translates, if you use Celsius like I do, to minus 16.6. That's ridiculous.
I told you it's freezing across most of the eastern seaboard.
That's
actually, yeah,
Arctic
come to
weather.
think of it, I think I have seen photos of that, yeah. But for Florida, if we're talking like 50 degrees Fahrenheit,
it's colder than 50 degrees. It's I think the warmest it was across all weekend at the Roar was 48 degrees.
That's still 8 degrees Celsius. It's still kind of average.
Rob,
it seems,
in Florida.
Place. Yeah, but come on, for
walk
the
outside
UK,
without my coat on at that. In
yeah,
that
same here.
The European teams showed up and went, "I left home for cold conditions and arrived here in Florida where it's supposed to be warm."
Wrong time of year.
More like abnormal cold, but yeah. There was a race on at the Roar for the first time.
Yes, there was. It was the prototype challenge race that was being held.
No. It was the IMSA prototype challenge presented by Mazda.
Yes. 2 classes, one for LMP3 cars, one for the older Elan chassis with the Mazda MZR engines in the back. And
Elan
they have been
EPO2, yes.
Yep. And also slightly detuned for this year as well to try and have some form of performance difference between the 2 classes. And
they should actually, which is actually strange because it's the last season for those old cars.
I'm sad.
Yeah, it is kind of sad actually. Next season will be the all LMP3 chassis. So yes, last year for the MPC cars. But they still put on good racing even though they're quite old.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Carl Masson's dad winning it, Dr. Robert Masson, as well, winning the MPC class.
Yes, Dr. Robert Masson putting in a masterful drive. I think he finished 11 seconds clear of the next MPC class car, I think. If I'm remembering correctly. Something like that. He had a really big gap.
And
but
yeah, it was
a good race at the end, which came down to three and a half seconds, I think, across the line between the winning Ligier of Roman DeAngelis, over the Norma of forgetting his name, blanking actually. The Cosmic Norma, I shall just say.
Yes, the Cosmic Norma. Oh, that was a brilliant livery. Shame we never got to see it running in full night conditions, because that would have been awesome.
There was some night practice, I think, for the LMP3 cars.
Oh, wow. Oh, damn.
Not quite sure why they weren't running at night, but oh well.
Yeah.
But yes, there was a race the weekend with the hundreds of thousands of scouts there for the weekend, which was quite nice actually.
Yeah, the other thing is that Roman DeAngelis is incredibly young. He's
17.
Not much old. Yeah, he's only 2 years older than Josh, I think.
Yeah, one thing I was reminded of I think he's actually 1 year older in terms of, or less than 1.5 years older than me. one thing I was reminded of at the weekend was just how young drivers are getting these days. Because not just, I mean, I tuned in for the PC race for about 10 minutes at one point because I was quite busy, so I couldn't see more. But I was reminded of the extremely young age of Roman DeAngelis there, and then I was also in the 3x3 prototype race, of course. I mean, I wasn't doing it, but I was watching it, and there was another driver in that called Kay Van Berlo, I believe, who was straight out of karting, and he was just 17 years old as well. And
kids these days,
yeah. They are...
Keep in mind, Roman DeAngelis is the son of Max DeAngelis, or someone.
Yeah, and done
could have been the first driver to win both the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge in America and the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge Canada, all in the same year last season.
Interestingly,
came very close. Finished third.
Interestingly, I was in a school year higher than I should have been last year, which means that technically last year, Kay Van Berlo and Roman DeAngelis could have been my classmates. That's quite scary for someone as young as me. So,
well, it's quite scary for those of us who are older than both of them, and you. But yes, moving back to testing here. There was the roar tests that actually happened, and remind me again what happened to the Cadillacs over the off season, Rob, with their engines.
They decided that 6.2 litres was far too much capacity, and that in a bid to try and get larger restrictors and actually still have some more torque than they were having at the end of last season, as well as all the other benefits of having completely revised BOP, they made the engines smaller to just 5.5 litres instead.
Just a paltry 5.5 litres.
Yes.
And what happened with those said 5.5 litres?
Well, in the qualifying test, Felipe Nasser was fastest for Whelen Engineering, Action Express. Then you had Tristan Vautier in the Spirit of Daytona car.
You're
not Visit Florida.
Yes.
And there was also Cadillacs in third and also in fourth place as well.
Right, so that did
By
not
some
work.
margin.
I was trying to get you to say Cadillacs pretty much dominated every session, from session 1 to session 7. Cadillacs 1, 2, 3, and 4 most of the time, yes.
are they more dominant than they were last year?
That is a good question. I don't know, because this is testing, after all. We don't know if the actual pace, if they're showing it. But from the timesheets, I can only assume that because all 4 Cadillacs were 1, 2, 3, 4 for like 6 of the 7 sessions, they're probably flat out, showing the pace. Interestingly enough, every single Cadillac team led a session.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Says a lot about the driver lineups in all 4 cars as well.
It does, actually.
I think it says a lot about the professionalism of the teams and the drivers, and possibly GM for managing it very well. But, yeah.
Yes.
This will be an interesting Daytona 24 Hours between the different Cadillac teams. It'll show the definitely the distance, the difference between the teams, and allow the drivers in that to have their own shot at excelling. But the testing pretty much showed Cadillacs back, led every session, every Cadillac led a session. The WEC P2s were strong out of the gate, but of course we're not surprised to see it's Orica that's the leading WEC P2 with Core Autosport. GTLM and GTD were close between the two, and interestingly enough, because some cars were parked in Saturday night testing for sandbagging.
Oh, yes, that was a sight to behold, that was. And it did make me laugh as well, for that matter. Yes.
Yes. It's probably not helped because the cars that were parked were both of probably the most loudest cars in the field, meaning livery-wise.
Oh, I think I know the ones you're on about now, the Chupacabra one.
The graffiti Shank Acura and the Chupacabra Mercedes AMG of P1 Motorsports, yes.
Yes.
Word of advice to those who are trying to sandbag, don't have loud liveries. You'll be noticed straight away.
Also advice to those trying to sandbag,
Don't do it.
Yeah.
At least in IMSA, anyway. They don't take too kindly to that. Yes.
Yes, the IMSA technical team and race director Bo Barfield, they don't take crap like that, so don't try it.
Yes. It's a novel concept. Parking people for sandbagging. Yes. Wonder it doesn't work anywhere else that way. Yeah.
Yes, it was absolutely brilliant. Since I've got the qualifying results up, shall we go through the top few in each class?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, go on.
All right, so top 4 were all Cadillacs overall. It was the Felipe Nasser set the time, co-driven by Eric Curran, Mike Conway, and British GT4 champ Stuart Middleton in the Whelan Engineering car, 1:35.8. Second was the Spirit of Daytona car driven by Tristan Vautier, Matt McMurray, and Eddie Cheever III on a 36.0. Third was the other Action Express car, the Mustang sampling car with their shiny new livery for this year, driven
Shiny
by
or dull?
bit of both. Driven by Philip Albuquerque, Joao Barbosa, and Christian Fittipaldi. Fourth was the Wayne Taylor Racing Konica Minolta sponsored Cadillac on a 36.4 driven by Renger van der Zande, Jordan Taylor, and Ryan Hunter-Ray. Fifth, we got the first.
You're gonna read through all of them, aren't you?
Just notable ones.
All right, I'm going to.
So I've just got to the first of the. Yeah.
Fifth was the number 6 Acura Team Penske Acura ARX-05 of Dane Cameron with a 136.988, who was the top Acura. The top Nissan was 7th. The number 22 Tequila Patroni SM for Pipo Durrani, a 137.245. In 8th was the top Mazda for Harry Ticknell with a 137.263. And the top WEC P2 in 9th was the number 78 of Jackie Chan DC Racing Joda with in the Orca 07 with yes, it's a really awful name. Alex Brundle in the 137.274. GTLM was led by the Americans with the Corvette Ford sandwich on the podium there.
And Porsche in 4th.
Yes, I was getting to that.
Only 4. Don't get too excited.
First was the number 66.
We don't need to mention every result.
First was a 66 GT at 143.610. Second was the number 4 Corvette of Oliver Gavin. Third was number 67 Ford GT of Ryan Briscoe. The top Porsche was in 4th with Earl Bamber. The lone Ferrari in GTLM was 6th, and the top BMW of Alexander Sims was 7th. GTD was led by Penta's favorites, the number 11 GRT Grasso Racing Team Lamborghini of Mirko Bortolotti with a 147.374. A welcome returnee to IMSA after a year away in the wilderness.
A Wilderness of Pirelli World Challenge.
Yes, was the number 44 Magnus Audi with Andy Lally.
Yes. The world's fastest vegan. Because I still think he's a better driver than Lewis Hamilton.
I don't think he is.
Certainly a better personality.
Moving on.
Controversial opinion.
I'm not so sure that's controversial, but
as much as people hate Lewis Hamilton, I think that he is actually one of the best drivers ever. So
that's not a dispute. He's good. But moving back to GTD,
yes.
Let's not start a fight. Yeah.
Yes.
The top Porsche was the number 58 Wright Motorsports 911 GT3R Patrick Long. Fourth was the 86 Michael Schenk Racing NSX GT3 of Alvaro Parents. Was the top Acura. The top Lexus was 6th with Jack Hawksworth. 7th was the number 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari. The top Mercedes AMG was 11th with Jeroen Bleekmolen. And
unsurprisingly.
Rounding out the bottom of GTD, sadly, is the number 96 Turner Motorsports BMW of Jens Klingman.
Technically, the P1 Motorsports Mercedes was a bit slower.
Well, I said rounding out the bottom, but yeah.
Yeah, true.
I already mentioned the top Mercedes.
Ah, yeah, fair enough.
Yes. Yes. If you were paying attention, Rob, you would have known the order I was going in.
Yes, my bad. But
Yes.
then again, that GRT Lambo lineup of Rolf van Eyck, Mirko Bortolotti, Frank Pereira, and Rick Breukers.
Oh, it's Pereira in it. Nice.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Frank Pereira a factory Audi driver last year? Not too long ago.
Mercedes.
Yeah, factory Mercedes.
Oh, Mercedes driver. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's moved over, and
again. Because wasn't he an Audi driver before that?
yes, he was, I think.
Right. Okay. Greener pastures everywhere for Pereira. It
Yes.
seems. Yes.
And the car is definitely an awful lot greener in terms of colour.
Oh, yes. Well done.
Yes, and also another news item to note is hi to my family at home, but Scott Pruitt.
I was
It's his
wondering where
last
you were going with
race.
that. Yes. Well, this coming Rolex 24 will be the final race for one Mr. Scott Pruitt after 50 years of racing.
Wow.
Yes. And will probably retire with the most wins sports car wins in North America.
So he must have started in 1967. That's quite amazing.
Yes, he's been racing for quite a while, but
Started karting in 68.
everything from karting, IMSA sports cars, IndyCar, Champ Car, Trans Am, NASCAR. Yeah, everything and everything.
Legend.
As
he
you know
knows how
how
to-
long ago that actually was. That was before they'd actually started adding wings to Formula One. That's quite
Sounds
amazing.
about right, yeah, actually.
Yeah, and he also knows how to make a damn fine bottle of wine.
Does he?
Yeah, he's got his own vineyard.
Winery, yeah, Pruitt.
Winery.
Jolly good.
Award-winning winery as well.
Yes, and that's exactly nicely leading into a segue of where he will be doing with the rest of his time, also being
Yes.
Alexa's brand ambassador. But yes, he will be retiring after Rolex 24. And also on Roar News, sadly, an injury to
Yes, Michael
one
Johnson.
Michael Johnson, yes.
Yes, he suffered a broken right tibia and fibula in a crash during testing on Saturday in the JDC Miller Audi TCR car.
Yes, that happened.
It was at the turn 6 hairpin, went straight on,
Right.
and that's
Pretty much it, yeah, really.
pretty much it. Yeah, and
Was it
best
a brake
wishes to him,
failure?
and hope he has a
Excuse
speedy
me.
recovery.
Not the first time he's been injured in a crash in a sports car, really, actually.
Was
Mr.
that a
Johnson.
brake failure? Because turn 6 doesn't tend to be a place where people go off.
Nobody knows, really. Yeah.
Although, having said that, in the comments on Sportscar 365, someone who was actually took part in that session pointed out that turn 6 was very slippery during the
Okay.
session.
Wouldn't surprise me, really. As cold as it was, there probably was no grip from the tires either.
Yeah, but no, like I
Yes.
said, best wishes to him, and hope he gets better soon.
Indeed, yes. Keep in mind he is paralyzed, so he uses hand controls. So, not sure how that affects his recovery time. But yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
Also, Michael Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
He used to be in
I'd forgotten he
Maserati
used hand
Indy
controls,
driver.
actually.
Yeah,
Pro Mazda, wasn't he in?
yeah, Maserati Indy driver.
Yeah.
One more bit of IMSA news is that Change Racing is probably not going to come back to IMSA anytime soon because he's just been hired by Team Penske.
Interesting.
Jolly good.
Yes, he will be leading Team Penske's NASCAR operations as their new team manager, which is why there was no Change Racing this season. For those wondering. But now, transitioning to the main topic of our podcast this evening is the Dubai 24 Hours.
Yeah, really looking
Yes.
forward to that.
I have the entry list up as well, and
Well, I hope so.
yes, and
So
it's
do I.
actually, I've looked through this. It is in class order, starting with A6 Pro. So, shall I read out the car and who's driving it?
Not for
generally,
all of
that's
them.
how
Just
this goes.
I'd
Not-
say
not
just
for all
read
of
out
them,
the
no.
cars until you get to a proper notable entry, and then go for a
All right.
driver list. Yeah.
The first entry on the list is the number 2 A6 Pro Black Falcon Mercedes of Hubert Haupt, Yelmer Burnham, Gabriele Piana, and His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki bin Faisal bin Abdulaziz Al Saud.
Otherwise known as Abdulaziz Al Faisal, but yes.
Yes.
Giving him his proper title. And the sister Black Falcon car, number 3, features Khalid Al Khabaisi, Jeroen Bleekemolen, Lucas Stoltz, and Manuel Metzger.
The Mercedes that I'm going to be calling the Red Hot Chili Pepper because it's red this season.
California.
Nope.
Rest in peace. Oh, damn it.
The next car is.
It's the Ram Racing Mercedes of Raymond Voss, Tom Onslow Cole, and Ewan Hankey.
Oh, that's an interesting addition to that lineup.
Good old Ewan Hankey. Watched him racing in Aston at Silverstone in 2016. What a
Yes,
race.
and hopefully will be doing and is listed as part of TF's WEC lineup.
Yeah, they've just announced a full season.
Interesting.
Yes.
It doesn't have that car does not have a rolled Gotha attached to it, so it's not a Gulf racing. car.
I've had a look. There may be a rolled Gotha later on.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
The next car is the number 8 of one Lambda Performance, who Sith
Yes.
might know from being in the VLN.
Yes.
But they
Ford
have
GT.
one of the old Ford GT3s, yes.
And that's
Crikey,
fascinating.
that's
because
going back.
I have never seen a Ford GT3 racing live. I'm that young. So,
Sorry, this is old.
Yeah, I know, but it's on the
Yeah.
entry list for this year's Dubai 24 Hour.
Crikey, that must be going back to when Matek built the cars, I think.
No, this is a completely different car.
Ah, right, yes, because I
Because
know Matek built...
were building the GT1 version.
Ah, yes, because I know they done that, but I couldn't remember if they also done a GT3 version at the same time.
No, that was Lambda.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, it's...
This is the 2006.
I don't know what year the car is, but
2006
yeah, it's an
road
old car.
it's based on.
Is it-
I don't know about the actual. 2005 road car. In fact, I don't know about.
Because
the
obviously they've done a GT Pro of the new car.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
So
GT,
it's
arguably.
which is basically
Yeah.
an old GT2.
But yeah, this is one. I don't know the health and age of the chassis, but Lambda has a car entered in for Nico Verdonk, Frank Kekla, a Hungarian by the name of Sabo Walter, and one Daniel Kalvitz, who is a Callaway Corvette factory driver. So interesting
Yeah.
lineup there.
I remember Danny Calvert from when he broke his legs at Spa this year, or a leg, I think it was. I didn't know he'd actually returned yet. So that's good.
Yes,
He's running PwC for the full season this season, but moving
I
on.
didn't watch that, so
yes. There's the number 9 Audi R8 LMS for BWT Mucker Motorsports for Marcus Winkelhock, Mike David Ortman, Andreas Weishaupt, Ricardo Feller, and Krista Jons.
quite a driver.
good old Marcus Winkel.
Only one I recognize is Winkelhock, yes.
Then again, I have
recognise-
heard of Jons.
I recognise.
I have
most of
heard of
the names,
Krista
yeah.
Jons from
Krista Jons
VLN.
especially.
Oh, yes, I didn't hear him. Yes.
Yeah.
Although Marcus
sorry.
Winkel, of
Bubblegum
course,
Audi, of course, yes.
It's
set the fastest lap at Spa 24 hours.
yeah.
Last year.
The irony is that the photo on the entry list page actually has the Fitztaylor 24 livery on the car, and not the pink BVT livery.
That was before they got the BWT.
Ah, yes.
But
True.
the next entry is a number 12 of Manti Racing.
I wonder what that car's going to be. Is it a Porsche by any chance?
One of the best cars. Hold on.
There we go.
Yes,
Judging
and
from
it's
the
got
picture, it looks more like an Audi. I'm joking.
it's got a strong. I was going to say it's got a damn fine driver lineup as well, including, I believe, the driver who set the Nordschleife record in the GT2 RS.
Otto Kloss, Lars Kem, or Lars Kern, Matthew Jaminet, and Sven Müller. Yes.
Good, good.
That is one.
Are the
heck of a
first two
lineup.
from their VLN lineup? Because I've never heard of them.
Well, Matthew Jaminet's been to the VLN.
No. I know Jaminet and Müller are factory drivers, but I haven't heard of Kloss and Kern.
Me neither.
So,
Kern is the Porsche's tester.
thank you. See, I knew he would know.
As mentioned, he is indeed the gentleman who took the GT2 RS to the Nürburgring lap round.
Oh, see, that I did not know. I thought that was one of the factory GT drivers.
I thought it was
No,
Peter
it
Dunbar.
No, it was because Kern and Nick Tandy were going so often underneath the previous lap record that in the end it was literally, I'd say, pretty much a time attack shootout between the pair of them as to who'd get the glory of being able to say, yep, fastest person to go around the Nordschleife in a street car.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
they're both very, very close matched on. I mean, 6:47.3 is tough
Whew. Wow.
around that track. Interestingly enough, actually, a GT3 road car is not that far behind, or GT3 race car, right, with all the added downforce and grip from it.
That's interesting, isn't it? You kind of imagine if they had a little bit less drag, how much quicker they would be going.
Yeah. So it's interesting to actually compare the road car with a full GT3 Cup spec car. GT3 Club spec car is not far behind. But we digress. Let's get back to the entry list.
And
Yes.
the next Porsche, which has come all the way from Japan.
Shall I do it, or should you?
Who wants to butcher the names?
I don't know. Do you want to do it or?
No,
I'll do it.
Japanese names are easy because they're separated by syllables. It's when you get to Polish names or something like that, then you struggle because there just aren't enough vowels.
Oh, come
Right,
on.
okay.
There's always Matsubu's
The
H Power
number
and
20
Super.
D-Station Racing Porsche 911 GT3R is driven by an all-Japanese lineup of Satoshi Hoshino, Seiji Ara, Tomonobu Fuji, and Tsubasa Kondo.
Yeah, there you go.
There. Well done.
Yes, and Seiji Ara, overall Le Mans winner in 2004 in the Team Go Audi R8.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Or as you like to call them, Team G.
Yes. Team
I was just about to say
Go.
that.
Yes, the next car on the list is the GP Extreme number 28 Renault RS01 in
Yeah.
GT3 specification for
Not GT3 car, but you go on.
It's
yes,
good enough to be a GT3 car. It's
yes, a nationally homologated GT3.
There you go.
Yes. For Jean-Pierre Valentini, Axel Jeffries, Nicky Pastorelli, and Alban Varuti.
Never heard of any of them other than Nicky Pastorelli.
I've heard of Axel Jeffries
Yeah, Axel
through
Jeffries.
GP2.
Yeah, Axel Jeffries
Well, he was
did a
actually
lot of
that
single
good
seater
at
races.
GP2. So,
Wait, hang on. Axel Jeffries I thought he was Malaysian.
he's Zimbabwean.
Zimbabwean, yeah.
I thought he was from Malaysia.
No.
Oh, okay. I learned something new. Moving on to the number 96 Optima Motorsport Audi R8 LMS in A6 Pro for Christopher Hasse, Bradley Ellis, and Oliver Wilkinson.
Well, we all know Haas is going to be.
I was going to say the only driver of note to me is Hasse, who is a factory Audi driver. in
Bradley
fairness.
Ellis, I
Yes.
think, has done a lot of. He's raced a couple of radicals in the past, done very well in those.
Of course, you would know that.
Yes.
I like radicals.
Like I said.
Yes, I'll tell you what, the next Audi has got a pretty strong lineup. It's got It's the MS7 by WRT number 777 of Mohammed bin Saud Al Saud, but the rest of the lineup: Michael Vergers, Dries Vantort, and Christopher Meese.
Whew.
Mohammed bin Saud Al Saud. That's one of the ex-Saudi Saudi Falcons, isn't it? Mohammed bin Saud Al Saud. His name sounds familiar to me.
I believe so, and I think he may also be a member of the royal family.
Well, that's a given with the name of Saud. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the final A6 Pro car, much to the delight of Pence.
Just going back to the previous entry, it's a 777, correct? So that means it can fly when it needs extra speed?
I don't get the reference.
Yes, I believe there is an airport not too far from
it's a Boeing plane joke,
Yes.
But moving on.
With that giant wing.
I feel ashamed, actually, because my granddad worked for Boeing, so never mind.
Yeah, and final A6 Pro car, much to the delight of Penta, is the number 964 Grasser entry of the Icon brothers, Mark and Rolf, Christian Engelhardt, and Mirko Bortolotti.
No slouches in that lineup there at all. No.
Yeah, should be near the sharp end of the field, I reckon.
If it holds together for the entire first half of the race.
If they don't have to stop there like the fire exit, they should.
Yeah, like I mentioned, if it holds together for the first 12 hours of the race, they will be in with a shot at the last half of the race, because every single Lamborghini that has been entered into the overall win here has somehow seemingly managed to conk out literally at the end of the race.
Yes, and with Bortolotti in the car, I think we can probably guess that that's going to be in the top 3 on the grid.
Right, so the first of the A6M entries is the number 1 Hofer Racing Mercedes-AMG GT3 of Michael Kroll, Chantal Kroll, Roland Egeman, Egeman, whatever. And Christian Frankenhutz, or Houtz, whatever you say his name.
And Kenneth
Yes, I did mention that. The question I have with that one is it the Blinksadies this year or not?
It's still a Mercedes-AMG GT3.
I know, but does it have the gold Mercedes star in the front? Okay, so it is
like
the
it has the gold star on the...
Well,
yes, it does.
It does on the picture, but I don't know if it will when they turn up. It probably will.
Yeah, because they ran at Coda without the thing, and I was very disappointed in them.
Might not.
That's why they didn't win. You see, they have to have the golden star on the front.
Yes.
Yes, but moving back
sorts
to the second of the 6 AMs is the number 7 of Black Falcon Mercedes-AMG GT3 of
Crichton Lendudis, yeah.
Thank you for helping me not butcher that name.
Great name.
Rui Aguash, Saud Al Faisal, and Saeed Al Mouri, who I also think is one of the ex-Saudi Falcons. So yeah, interesting.
Yes. The next A6AM car is the number 16 SPS Automotive Performance entry for Valentin Pierberg, Tim Mueller, Lance David Arnold, and Dominic Baumann.
Isn't Rui Aguash a McLaren driver?
Ferrari.
Yes, he's driven Ferraris in the ELMS, European Le Mans Series.
Well, I know he's driven Ferraris. I thought he was a factory McLaren driver, but moving on.
That was Perrin.
Oh, sorry, I'm confusing Portuguese drivers.
You're just looking at the Portuguese flag and getting confused.
There's not very
Portuguese. Actually, no, Parent isn't even factory McLaren driver either, so never mind.
Not anymore, is it?
Not anymore, is it? Yeah. Don't listen to anything I'm saying anymore, is what I'm saying.
Bentley this year. Bentley Parent. I'm looking forward to that.
Well done, Josh. Well done.
What?
Anyway, back to the entry.
Yes, the A6M number 18 of V8 Racing, a very, very old in the tooth Corvette.
GT2 car.
Is it?
It's
I believe it is.
Spec.
It's homologating GT3 spec, but I don't bet it's the ZR1 C6.
so it is a GT2. It's not the GT1. Okay.
5.5 litres, so...
The argument that we always have over 24-hour races with them in the field, is it the GT1 or is it the GT2?
But it's GT3 now. What?
What? Confusion. But,
What?
Luke Brams, Duncan Heisman, Alex Van 't Hoff, Rick Abrecht, and Finlay Hutchinson. Duncan Heisman stands out in that lineup. There is the next entry, the number 19 of MP Motorsport, Mercedes-AMG GT3, of Daniel de Jong, Henk de Jong, and Bert de Huys.
Now that's the first thing I've seen Daniel de Jong racing anything that isn't a GP2 car.
I don't even know who he is.
GP2 driver.
Yes, thank you. Well done for that. I've just established I don't know who
had
he
a really
is.
nasty shunt at Spa a few years ago, 2015 it was. Actually broke some of the vertebrae in his back in that one. Horrible one.
Oh, that's who he is.
Yeah. returned to racing after that, and this is the first time I've seen him racing anything that isn't a GP2 car.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting.
One of the last ASA exams was the number. I've lied. There's apparently more. I don't know how to read.
That's quite a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot more. I'm an idiot. Yep. But the number 24 SPS Automotive Performance Mercedes-AMG GT3 of Alexandre Coigny, Iraj Alexander David, Richard Feller, and Antoine Borja, or Borga, however you say it. Next is the number 25 HGP Motorsport Mercedes-AMG GT3 of Alexander...
I keep going Hrachonova. It's not. It's the other way around.
Hrachonia or whatever.
Hrachovina. Hrachovina. Not
We're going with that one.
Hrachonova, as I kept.
We apologise for butchering everybody's name.
Yes, but yes. Anyway, Indy Donche, Bert Schneider, Martin Conrad, and Bruce Boise.
Bryce Boise. I recognise all of those names from different places. That's quite funny, actually.
I recognise Bernd Schneider from DTM a long time ago.
Bert Schneider, the factory Mercedes driver.
Hrachowina has been doing GT3 racing for as long as I've been watching it. Indy Donche, I remember watching him racing the Renault RS01 single make series at Silverstone in 2015. Bernd Schneider, of course, was a Formula 1 driver and a very famous DTM driver as well. Martin Conrad, he's been racing... didn't he race the Corvette a long time ago? I think he did. And Bryce Bosie, I think, has come from TCR.
Right, okay. Number 27, GP Extreme of the second of the Renault RS01s of Frederick Fatian Rold Gotha. So that's where the Golf colours have gone for this race.
It doesn't appear to be in Golf colours, though, according to the photo.
Well, those photos aren't updated, but they will be because he was running at the Golf 12 hours with that car. Stuart Hall and Jordan Groger. The first of the car collection Motorsport Audis and number 33 of Dirk Parhofer, Dimitri Parhofer, Remy Toral, Ali Kapan, and Frank Stippler. And
then the second car, crikey, that's got some names in it.
Yes, the number 34 of Johannes Dr. Kirchhoff, Gustav Edelhoff, Elmar Grimm, Ingo Volger, and Vigo Dalmo, who I've never heard of, but I love his name.
I love his name, and I'd like to hazard the guess that might not actually be his name.
Oh, okay. Well done.
I think that could well be a gentleman running under a nom de plume.
Oh, the next car is actually... all of the names in the next car are actually quite
No, the next... Oh, this is the class favourite for sure, I reckon, the 66.
This Wigo Dalmo has been an entry the last few years for this.
Has he?
Do you know who he is, then?
I no, but it's been an entry before.
Has he? I've never even seen his name until now.
For several 24-hour series.
Wow.
Okay. I do agree it is quite possibly a nom de plume.
Yes.
I have never seen his name until now, but that's interesting.
As to who the behind. Yeah, maybe this is a real person. This Norwegian gentleman with no internet history does exist.
Still not as great a name as Go Max, but moving on.
Oh, that was just the best name of all time.
The next A6M entry is Blank.
Yes, it's got the best driver lineup in the field because we all know how good that driver to be confirmed is.
So it has
they've
TBA,
got-
TBC, and TBD in it. Well done.
They've
Yeah, I'll
decided.
tell you what, that TBC guy, top-notch platinum, I'll tell you now.
They've decided not to turn up with any drivers to save weight.
Yes.
Oh,
Quickest
so
car
just-
in the field.
Save anyone getting burned. Well,
Well, it is a Lamborghini after all, so...
That's where the joke was coming
Interesting change of entries here. The Pro Sport Performance entry is not a
Yes.
Porsche, but it is a Mercedes
Oh, hello.
AMG
from. That's
of
unusual.
Charles Putman, Charles Espinlaw, Joe Foster, and Adam Christodoulou.
That explains
Christodoulou,
Christodoulou there.
Yeah, Christodoulou, we're used to seeing Mercedes, but
In Mercedes,
those other
yes,
three in
but
that
not
lineup.
those three. They're usually in GT3 Cup cars. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Porsche Cup cars.
And speaking of Porsches, the next one's probably the most famous one in the field, the 911 of Herbeth Motorsport.
Why is that an AM entry?
Because
It's always an AM entry.
Because it's only technically got 2 professional drivers in it, and even then one of them silver.
Yeah, but
The
still,
lineup
Dennis
is...
Olsen, he's
Yes, he's one of the pro drivers. The actual lineup is Daniel Alleman, Ralph Bone, Robert Renauer, Robert Renauer, Alfred Renauer, and Dennis Olsen, with the majority of the outright pace presumably coming from Robert Renauer and Dennis Olsen.
I'm not going to accept that is in the AM class, and there are other cars in the pro.
Josh,
entries.
it really doesn't matter this year because there's no lap times, so it will be probably at the front of the field by hour 4.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, they won several of the races last year with that exact lineup. I've got no idea
And
how
Brendan
they
Hartley.
can... What?
And Brendan Hartley.
Yes, and Brendan Hartley. So I've got no idea how... Yeah, but he was only in it for about one race. So I've got no idea
it was Dubai, though.
how they can be considered an AM entry,
Because
being
they are
basically
an
the reigning
AM.
champions.
So move on.
Because Daniel Alleman and Ralph Bon are amateur drivers, and I think
There you
Alfred
go,
Renauer
yeah.
is as well. So
They're still going to dominate.
Anyway, the second GRT Lamborghini entry of Mark and Eichen, Roberto Pampanini, Christoph Lenz, Mauro Calamia, and Rick Breukers is in the 963.
Right,
Yes.
moving up to GT3. He was in TCR
Yes.
last year.
yes, he's not going to be driving the family team anymore. which is-
Well, he's a factory Lamborghini driver, if I'm not mistaken.
He is now,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
or
is now,
Lamborghini
yeah.
Junior.
After winning the Lamborghini Super Trofeo in Asia, was it?
And rounding out the last of the Middle East. Rick Breukers was the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Middle East champion.
Middle East, that's it.
But rounding out the final of the GT3 entries and the A6M entries is the Gulf Racing Japan Porsche 911 GT3R of John Wartik, Nicholas Salins, Philip Sager, Hisashi Kuni, and Kimihiro Yoshihiro. None of those drivers I've ever heard of, but I wish them luck.
Same here.
Right. Well, my picks for the A6 AM Pro class my pick for the A6 AM Pro class victory
You actually can pick someone.
is a very, very difficult choice. The Ram Racing Mercedes must be one of them in the mix for it. That's got a very strong lineup. There are some other drivers, but I'm not sure of the quality of their teammates.
You want to just read out some of the next entries, Josh?
Yeah, 964 Grasser Racing. So that's A6 Pro and A6 AM. I reckon definitely, as you all would have guessed, is going to go to the 911 Porsche. That's almost unbeatable.
Right. Okay. So when the Lamborghini problems happen, you'll be crying then. Excellent.
I don't think they will. Like I'm going to regret saying that, but Surely bad
Yeah, you
luck
better
can
knock
only
on wood
really
now.
come for so many years. Especially in a car that
Tell
doesn't
that to
really appear to
Toyota.
catch fire anywhere else.
Ouch.
Say that to Toyota.
Oh yes, apart from Toyota.
I'd argue the Toyota's a lot more reliable. They conk out at the end. The Lamborghinis blow up halfway through.
Or McLaren Honda, but never mind.
No, they blow up at the beginning.
Yeah, before the beginning.
They blow up before the race even starts. So
That's true. Yeah,
yeah.
that's more of a McLaren issue than Honda, if we're honest. But yeah,
Just to jump back a minute, I have found Wigo Dalmo. He is a genuine.
he is a real person.
He
we
is
can
a real
confirm.
person.
He has a face and arms and legs.
He is the CEO of Momec Group, which is a sponsor of the Audi in question, which may be where he got his drive from. Just speculating, of course.
All right.
Yes.
Does he have a left ear? You mentioned all of his other body parts, but you didn't mention his left ear.
I can confirm, Josh. He has hair, eyes, a nose, a mouth, teeth, and ears, and arms, legs, and a body. There.
Does
He's a person.
appear to be a human.
But it's one of his
Yes,
ears
he's
on
a
the
human
right.
being. He has all of his appendages. Move on.
Have you counted his fingers?
What
I'm
part
not
of
saying that
appendages
people
don't
with
you
less
get?
fingers are less human, but
Anyway,
We're just going to
Yes.
ignore Josh for the rest of the show now. But
Yes. Moving on. Shall I make a start on the SPX class?
just pick out the handful that are important and interesting.
now read out all the cars. Don't necessarily read out all the drivers. Read
The
out all the cars.
first car, which looks quite interesting, is the Liebherr Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo car number 10. That's got Oliver Webb in it, alongside Lim Kyung Wee of Singapore, Melvin Mo of Malaysia, Alexander Sherpen of Norway, and Tadas Volbikas of Lithuania.
His name is Ta-da!
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 I like the way that we say we're going to read out less, and then you start reading out exactly what we've read before, but adding in their nationalities.
Rob does not take direction very well.
Never mind.
The next car of considerable interest. I mean, I'm just looking through here. We've got the Combe Ledejar, the McLaren
he's a
factory
platinum.
driver in the
Former
37
McLaren factory driver.
Yes, former McLaren factory driver in the 37 Tsunami RT Porsche 991 Cup MR2. Target
Ukrainian
Racing.
entry.
Target Racing is also going for the light approach, bringing along no drivers, as yet confirmed.
Apparently, the Lamborghinis are trying to get to the end by not having any drivers.
That's true.
That's one way of doing it.
Robo Race. They're training for Robo Race.
What is a Lamera Cup car?
That's exactly what I was just wondering.
I've actually had a look at their website earlier. It's a 2.5 litre, 300 brake horsepower, purpose-built racing car.
So is it in the guise of a Vortex then?
It's an endurance special, I'd say. Yeah.
All
Hey,
right. Okay.
I'm sure that when I looked at the entry list earlier, there were two of them, but I can only see one now.
Yeah, one's in SPX. I think one's in a different class altogether for some
the
reason.
one that's in SPX has a Christophe Bouchou attached to this entry.
Yes, I was just about to mention that one Mr. Christophe Bouchou is on the entry list in that car.
Incidentally, the other Lamera Cup car is in SP3.
Right. Okay. No idea the difference, but yeah. Moving on.
There's GDL Racing Team Asia have brought along a Huracan Super Trofeo, as have GDL Racing Middle East.
Nice of them to distinguish the nationalities there.
Yes, I've heard of absolutely none of the drivers in either of those cars, so moving on. Speed Lover, yes, they've brought their Porsche 991 Cup MR1.
What the hell is an MR1 Cup car?
It's a
don't
Toyota.
know.
That's what it is.
That's an MR2.
I'm joking. I'm sure there was a Toyota called an MR1.
so the MR stands for Manfire Racing.
Ah,
Okay. The knowledge of Sith here. What is an MR Racing Cup car?
Well, I don't know on the 1 versus 2, but the MR is Manfire Racing, who develop GT3 for Porsche. Obviously, I presume the 1 versus 2 is different variations because obviously we have the 991 Mark 1 and now we have the Mark 2, which MRS GT are also.
Yes.
Yeah, just to be a bit confusing, yeah.
I'm actually having a little look at the photo of the Tsunami RT car as it's Mark II, and it appears to have the same front-end treatment, it seems, especially regarding
is this
on the
is this the
hood.
cup car that is that has parts of the GT3 car? Yeah.
Yes, that's the one I'm on about. So I think it's a hybrid between the GT3 and the normal cup car with Manto,
Okay,
of course,
so
having
that's
done
the one that it is. I remember these cars now from the VLN. Yeah.
modifications. The final SPX car belongs to MRS GT Racing. It's a Porsche 991-2 modified for Helmut Rödig, Jörg Bernsteiner, Alfred Heger, and Christopher Zirkling.
You could have just read out Christopher Zirkling, because that's the only one we've heard of.
Yeah, true. Although the 991 Pro class, first name on that list, Matty Campbell.
Matt Campbell, yeah.
My
Porsche Carrera Cup Australia champion Matt Campbell.
Porsche Super Cup driver and second overall in a Pro-Am entry at Bathurst last year in the 12
Porsche
hours.
Super Cup race winner.
I think he was top 3 in the championship.
Third.
I wouldn't know. I don't follow Super Cup.
Fourth.
But
I think it was fourth. Let me check. Well, I saw a round of the Porsche Super Cup with my own eyes when I went to the...
Josh reminisces about the Porsche Super Cup. We will
British Grand
go
Prix this year.
and introduce the number 62 Fach Autotech Porsche 991
mind
Cup
your language.
car. It is. That's what it is. FACH.
Third.
Matt Campbell, Julian
third
Andlauer.
with 4 wins out
Thomas.
of 11 races. Not bad.
Be quiet.
Okay.
Thomas Preining and Jens Richter. But the 991 Cup 2, that's the new 2018 car?
17, I think.
17?
So the 991.2 came out in 2017.
Okay, so it's the one that just was released then. All right.
It's a new.
It looks different at the front end as well, on the bumper especially.
You can mostly tell from the engine size.
Yeah, because it's 3.8 to 4 litre.
I bow down to your superior knowledge of engine sizes.
the next generation is rumoured to be a 4.2 litre. For the
how on earth they get that in the back of a Porsche, I have no idea.
Shoehorn. Very big shoehorn.
I thought they were already shoehorning it in already, but okay.
There's 700cc per cylinder.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, obviously then we've got a whole run of Porsches.
Yes, this is Sith's dreamland here. We're entering Porsche country.
I believe this is the first year where they've separated 991 Pro and 991 Am.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of them, so they're distinguishing Pro and Am, yeah.
Yeah.
32 Porsches in this entry list.
You can't tell he's already looked through this entry list, can you?
There's quite a lot, but obviously
there's 33 Porsches, everybody.
Indeed.
The next entry is the 63 of Race Pro Motorsport. The only one of note there is Klaus Bachler, who I think is a Porsche factory driver, or junior, whichever one. There's a second MRS GT Racing in 991M. It's the 26 Porsche 991-2 Cup of Stephen Grove, Bertram Hornung, and Matthias Zerschrick. The only one of note there is Stephen Grove.
From Bathurst, I think, as well.
Bathurst 12-hour winner.
Yep.
Porsche Carrera Cup winner in Australia, yes. There's the second Fach Autotech entry.
We need to get the sensor in here.
I don't recognize any of those Swiss drivers in the Swiss Porsche.
Philip Frommenweiler, he's Lexus GT3 driver who won several races.
Oh, yes.
the International GT
Emil
Open
Frey,
this year.
yes.
Also, I believe that Michael Hirschman has raced GT3 in the past. Possibly, I think BMW Z4 rings a bell. Oh no,
if you say so.
I'm thinking of Pierre Hershey. Never mind.
Josh forgetting names. Wonderful. The next entry in 991M is the 67 of Race Pro Motorsports. The only one I noticed there is Phil Quaife, who I think a single-seater driver. Someone.
I'm thinking of Adrian Quaife Hobbs, but that's not him.
Well, that is his son I think,
Is it?
or son-in-law. Someone.
No, it can't. It can't be because Phil Quaife's only 31.
Sorry, Phil Quaife is a radical enduro, and obviously Porsche Super Cup, like most drivers.
Ah, yeah.
I stand corrected. There you go.
Finished 9th at the Belgium round in 2007 of Porsche Super Cup. So.
Wow, there's lots of MRS GT cars in this 991M.
Well, they're running quite a few customer cars.
Yes, obviously.
I've found the Mootron brothers.
There's an interesting entry, an all Lebanese lineup. Never mind. Jules Westwood spoiled it. Never mind.
not all
dual
Lebanese.
racing.
Yeah, I was going to say the Mootron Lebanese entry, but Jules Westwood is English, so ruined the all Lebanese lineup there.
Have we just missed a couple of cars?
Yes.
Yes, they weren't important.
Yeah, they're all important. Come on. Right, so, after the race for we
God,
also
if
have
we sat here and read every single, we'd be here for 3 hours.
We've
the number
been going for 1 hour
79
and 6
Speed Lover Porsche with Harry Hilders behind the wheel, which is a big name. The number 90 MRS GT Racing, and then you get the dual racing Lebanese entry. Ta-da!
Happy now?
Yeah.
Great. We're going to press on with the way I'm reading the lineup, which
There
is
are quite a few Porsches. It is okay.
Come on, they're all in the race. We don't necessarily need to read out the drivers, but they're all important.
There's 2 more 991 Cup entries. There's the 111 for Track Club, and there's the 187 for Race Union. And moving on to SP2 with the number 58 VDS Racing Adventures. Mark Focus V8 of Rafael van der Straten, Karim Al-Azahari, Gregory, I think that's Paisse, P-A-I-S-S-E, Pass.
Paisse, I'd say.
Paisse? Yeah, there you go. Wolfgang Haug and Jose Clos.
Should be close.
Very well done there, yes.
Thank you.
Doesn't make sense, but okay.
SP2, the next entry is the number 78 Speed Lover Porsche. Nothing of note there. The 201 CCS Racing KTM Crossbow. Don't recognize anyone there. The 246 KTM M Motorsport Australia KTM Crossbow of Justin McMillan, Glenn Wood, Nico Pronk, and Peter Cox. It will be an entry to look out for in SP2.
Yes.
Yes, especially with one Peter Cox at the wheel.
Ooh.
Not sure what that was, but okay.
I think everyone just had a sudden spasm. What?
No, I've just found a couple of very interesting entries just a little bit further down.
Okay, well.
Okay, the GT. First of the GT4 entries is the number 40. Brookspeed International Motorsport, Porsche Cayman, GT4 Club Sport MR of James McGuire, Ian James, Matt Bell, and John Showerman, who, those that don't know, James McGuire is the CEO of Aero Paint. So he'll have a lovely, shiny Cayman.
And Ian James and Matt Bell both know how to drive very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
the next GT4 is the 84. Windward.
Continental Tire Challenge team for this season, I believe.
Well, this is just confusing. It's the team Race Scout by Windward HTP Motorsport because they felt their name wasn't long enough already.
Yes.
Isn't that like 3 teams in one?
Possibly.
Yes. And it's got a pretty good lineup as well, actually. Russell Ward, Bryce Ward, Christian Gerbhardt, Bernd Schneider, and Norberto Fontana.
No, that's the second
Bernd
time.
Schneider's in another car.
I was just about to say that's the second time I've seen Bernd Schneider in the order.
And Norberto Fontana is, of course, another driver.
Yeah.
Who's Norberto Fontana?
F1 driver.
Drove for Sauber in 1997.
Oh, so he's an old man.
I think.
Okay, excellent.
Yes. Yep, he's old. He wasn't actually that quick, to be honest, when he was in F1.
Yeah,
But
but he's still an F1 driver. Entered 4 races. I've just checked.
It's interesting to note that this car isn't a GT4 car. It is still listed as the SPX version of the AMG GT4.
Oh,
I would have thought they would have actually got the homologation sorted by now, given that.
Well, it's been running in the IMSA Daytona test, so I would assume so. But it's interestingly enough running in GT4, but it's listed as the SPX version. So
there's a couple actually. The next is a Mercedes.
Don't know.
Yes, it's got the Besser Group Racing car for Franjo Kovac.
Oh, I see why you wanted to read this one.
Cora Schumacher, Ralph Schumacher's ex-wife, and Roland and Sebastian Ash.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a McLaren entered in for this race. What?
There is indeed, yeah. Endurance Racing McLaren. Although we've missed one. We've missed the Perfection Racing Europe Ginetta.
It's just a Danish Ginetta.
By St. Michael. Then you get onto the Swedish McLaren of Alfab Racing, all Swedish lineup there, and yeah, very very bright livery for that McLaren, and it is the first time I've seen a McLaren in the 24-hour series.
Not actually the first one. They were campaigned in Dubai by Dragon Racing the first year they were a customer car, I believe.
Right. Well, I wasn't around then, so, or not in sports cars.
Just showing my age. Yep. Moving on to the surprise GT4 edition of Phoenix Racing with an all Hong Kong lineup.
Car. Not a proper GT4, nor's the Mercedes.
You're actually right about the Mercedes because it's not listed as one.
Well, neither's the Audi. It just says Audi R8 LMS GT, which makes it look like a GT3 car.
Homologated. Well, the R8 LMS GT4 is one, a mouthful, and secondly, not a proper GT4 car.
Exactly.
The 247 Phoenix Racing Audi R8 LMS GT4 is Adley Fong, Marchi Li, Sean Thong, Darrell Young, and Charles Kwan. So it's a German entry with an all Hong Kong driver lineup. Interesting.
And quite a good one as well, for that matter.
Yes. I think that's all the Audi...
there is another Audi.
Cup drivers, yes, isn't it?
No,
there's 248's got a couple of... the 248's Phoenix Racing car's got Philip Ellis, Jonas Lappalainen, Garcia Redest, and Jean-Louis Jasper, and both Redest and Lappalainen raced in TCR Germany as Audi junior drivers, I believe.
Lappalainen graduated from the Audi TT Cup, let's not forget.
Yes, something he won.
I'm sure I recognise the name Jean-Louis Jasper as well.
I've never heard of him before.
I don't know what he did.
Well, when you remember, let us know.
GT4 European Series, Northern European Series Cup Series.
That's scary how he just thought of that off the top of his head. But
I didn't. I just searched it. But
oh, never mind. You impressed me. You impressed me. No more.
In the race for the chase for the quest for the cup for the thing.
Yes. The next entry is the 252 Sword Rennsport BMW M4 GT4. The only one of note that I can find on there is Lisette Brams, who is the one who runs the GT4 Europe team for BMW. Doesn't she?
I've heard of Max Brams, but not Lisette Brams.
Well, they're related somehow. The second GT4 entry is a 264 Black Falcon Team TMD Friction. Also not a homologated AMG GT4, it seems.
Couple of TCR drivers behind the wheel there.
Frank Yu, Jonathan Hui, and Taurus Au, and Kevin...
Say.
Something.
Kevin Say.
From Macau. Interesting. Lots of Hong Kong and Macau drivers in this race, apparently.
Yeah, they're getting more... They're getting... Well, motorsport is getting more popular in those states, nations, countries. So...
City, state, nation, countries, yes. Well done. remembering all geographical terms there. Yes.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what Macau and Hong Kong come under.
Just what we said. Yeah.
So I said them all,
there's
just
an
to be sure.
There's an empty BMW M4 GT4 for 3-wide technology. The first TCR entry is a 55.
Oh, you missed one. You
no,
missed
I
the first 3-wide technology BMW GT4, which does have entries of Eric Kyrol.
Have you
Philip
heard of any
Shatterwick,
of them?
Michael Pettit and Niels Stevens.
Never mind, he's reading them anyway.
Never heard of absolutely any of them. And the next car is the 55 ATEC DXB TCR Seat Leon.
No, you have to read out the entry properly. It's the Seat Leon TCR V2 DSG.
2000 cc.
with the superior gearbox.
I was about to ask what the DSG was supposed to be. Is that because you can get different gearboxes in them?
It's purely I believe it's purely for the dual clutch gearbox. This is the moniker that VW and Seat use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, both the Audi and the Seat can have, and the Golf can have different gearboxes. That's interesting.
Yes. And there is a notable entry, actually, a little bit further down for RKC TGM Motorsport.
You missed one.
Hang on, you're skipping lap 57. They're very important. There are annual entries to the Dubai 24.
Yes, they are.
This time they're in a TCR car.
Yes, an Audi RS3 LMS DSG.
Which isn't what the picture is.
No, but next up we actually have the RKC...
It will become tomorrow, Josh. Just wait and see.
Yes, the RKC TGM Motorsport number 99 Honda Civic TCR is actually quite important because it's actually the new generation Civic, and I think this could well be the race debut for that car.
It is indeed. It's the race debut for the new Honda Civic TCR, and it looks brilliant, actually. I love it.
The one we get in the States, finally.
And,
yes.
And that's being driven by Ricky Kumbe, Thomas Gannon, David Drinkwalker, Umer Khan, and who I'm sure is on the entry list earlier as well, and James Kay. James Kay very quick. I've seen him setting some blistering lap times before. I'm sure
this entry has the possibly the only Pakistani driver in the world.
Umer Khan.
Yes.
I'm sure he was in an entry earlier. Let me see.
No, he wasn't, I don't think.
Yes, he was. He was in... Oh, no, he wasn't. Never mind.
Moving on, car number 112 is the Stanko and Tanner Motorsport by Autorama Weizkorn Audi R8 LMS DSG. No, not R8 LMS, god damn it, it's TCR, it's the RS3 LMS DS. Oh, can someone else read that, please? Because I'm just messing this up.
This is the number 112. Stanko and Tanner Motorsport by Autorama Weizkorn of Audi RS3 LMS DSG of Stefan Tanner, Luigi Stanko, Ralph Hengeler, Andrew Mollison. I've heard of absolutely none of those drivers. Well done.
At least you managed to actually pronounce the team name and the car correctly without making a mess of it, unlike me.
Stanko and Tanner Motorsport by Autorama Weizkorn.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Car number 115 is the Bonk Motorsport. Is the Bonk Motorsport Audi RS3 LMS DSG.
Yeah, he did it.
Then we got the number 125 Baz Cowton Racing Audi RS3 LMS DSG.
James Littman.
Yep, James Littman, one of a few familiar faces in that car. Then we've got the other Bonk Motorsport Audi RS3 LMS DSG, car number 127. After that, we've got the Finnish entry, the number 129 LMS Racing by Baz Cowton Racing.
That's a strong lineup.
Car. There's the only driver I've actually heard of is Antti Burri.
Come on!
They're all actually very
Olli
good.
Kangas, Kari-Pekka Laaksonen, and Antti Burri.
Yeah, Olli Kangas, Kari-Pekka Laaksonen, and Antti Burri, all very good TCR drivers. Actually, I think they all raced in TCR Germany.
Let me guess. I was going to say they were in TCR Northern European Champions or something.
I don't think there is a TCR Northern European Champions.
Technically there is. It's called TCR Benelux. There you go.
They've also raced in Porsche Carrera.
Okay, yeah.
Porsche Cayman Cup.
Of course, you know that.
Yes. The car number 130 is the Liqui Team Engstler car. A couple
Yes,
of big
the
name
important
drivers.
one.
Oh, very
Yes.
good lineup. Very
Yes.
good. That's my winner.
Luca Engstler, Florian Thoma, Benjamin Lukter, and a certain Mr. Jean-Paul Vernet, heading back to where he won the TCR International Series.
That's the one Mr. J.K. Vernet for those of us in the US who know him from being in the Mazda Road to Indy.
Yes.
You didn't read out the car name, or the car model, rather.
Oh, sorry, it's a Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR SEQ 201720000CC.
I'm assuming SEC must be because it's a sequential gearbox?
This is correct. So we have an entire range of Audis, Seat, Golfs. They're all the same car, just with different badges.
And they say platform sharing doesn't work.
Yes. It makes it cheaper for the entry.
I tell you what, though, that's my winner with Florian Thoma, Luca Engster, both very highly known TCR drivers. Jean Carbonet, the reigning TCR International champion. I don't know who Benjamin Leuchter is, but so long as he doesn't bin the car, then the rest of them should bring it home in first in the class, I'd say.
Yes.
Would you like to have a go at saying the game name again,
Yes,
Rob? Because it's come back up again.
Yes. Damn you. Yes, car number 212 is the Stanko and Tanner Motorsport by Autorama Weizsäcker Seat LSR TCR V3 DSG.
Oh, he's done it wrong already.
He did.
Damn it. Damn it.
I had no idea Seats had LSR or LSR engine.
It's a typo. I think it says Seat. It should be Seat Leon TCR DSG, but I'm just reading off the entry.
An LCR is a Leon Cupra R.
I believe so. Yes.
As for the difference between a Leon Cupra R and a Leon TCR, who knows?
Well, interestingly, it says it's that's the same one that's being fielded by LMS Racing. So I have no idea what the heck that means.
Yes. 216 is the Modena Motorsports Seat Leon TCR V3 sequential for Wayne and John Shen, Francis Tier, and of course two very, very familiar faces, Matthias Besch and Benny Simonson.
Good old Benny.
Yep.
Brother of Alan Simonson, the late Alan Simonson.
The late, great Alan Simonson.
Who, let's not forget, has a record at Bathurst.
Yes.
I'm sure there was a significant date that just passed to do with Alan Simonson, but I can't remember what that was.
His birth date, maybe.
I don't know.
Yes, but moving on.
Yes, moving on. There is car number 303, which is the
Red Camel Jordans.nl Seat LCR TCR V3 DSG. Dirk Vorlander, Ivo Breukers, and Maxim Aronov, which are otherwise known as the Breukers car, because they're always in a touring car in Dubai. And everyone's gone quiet. What happened?
I was just checking the YouTube comments. Yeah, everyone's just bantering, usual stuff. Right, where have we got up to?
I just read out the 303.
Oh, good car. Reigning TCR. Well, they won pretty much all of the TCR races in that class last year. Then we come up to the Team Ultron Peugeot, which isn't technically a TCR car, although it's entered in the TCR class, and that is the Peugeot 308.
On that note, actually, there is a new 308 TCR car that just came out from Peugeot Sport themselves.
Yeah, but this isn't it.
I know, but I was just mentioning it.
And that is the Peugeot 308 Racing Cup, and there's actually another one of those, which I might as well read out before I read the car between them on the entry list, and that's the other Team Ultron Peugeot. Henrik Sorensen behind the wheel there, he's quite good.
Hang on, you skipped the 888.
Yeah, that's
car.
what I was coming back to. So then you have the 888 AC Motorsport Audi RS3 LMS, and Vincent Rademacher.
You forgot the SEQ.
SEQ 2000cc. Vincent Rademacher, one of the drivers I recognise in that lineup. He's
XPTCC driver.
And Stefan Perrin as well. I recognise that name.
Perrin. Yes, he is the one from Perrin in Automotive, isn't he?
I don't think so. Anyway, yes, sorry about that. I disconnected because my internet decided to disconnect me.
I wondered why you just cut out randomly halfway through a word, and I was just like, what did he do?
Yes. And the other driver in that car is Renis Nittis, who is familiar to anyone who follows the World Rallycross Championship.
Which car?
The Treble A.
AC Motorsport, yes.
Yes, the one which you were talking about.
On to one of the largest fields.
Nittish, isn't he a Audi Sport Rallycross driver?
I know he races in World Rallycross. I can't remember what car he drives.
Oh, fair enough.
Onto one of the largest classes in the bottom half of the field, which is SP3.
Hold on, have you mentioned the other Team Ultra and Peugeot?
Yes. And we start that with the number 71 Core Oyster racing car. Core Oyster, of course, an absolute regular. I actually saw a clip the other day of him racing in the Jaguar something or other Cup at Monaco, actually, in his support.
Yes, XJR 15, I believe they were, 1991.
You're missing the important news about the Core Icer racing BMW M3, and there are 2 TBNs on this entry. Now TBN is a new one for me. I've heard of TBA and TBC and TBD, but not TBN.
TBC, TBA, TBD, and TBN would make for one hell of a driver lineup.
They all
let's be
sound
honest.
like diseases.
It does actually. Is TBN supposed to be to be named or to be nominated?
I'm guessing.
All right, okay, that's the new one for me.
JR Motorsport have gone 2 better than that, and they have not confirmed any of their drivers.
Anyone? Yeah, job done.
Again, another one going for the weight reduction. CWS, very good.
We're entering the Ginetta section of the entry list.
Yep, a lot of genetics in this.
County Yorkshire
have got the. I don't know why these aren't in the GT4 class. Probably not GT4 homologated.
They're not GT4 spec. These are just the G55 Cups, I think.
Okay. And we have Colin Waite, Jack Constable, Simon Murray, and Bradley, not Brandy. Bradley Liebenberg. You can tell I'm from Britain, can't you, Brandy? But
Liebenberg.
The first two, Colin Waite and Jack Constable, are very, very big in radical racing here in the UK. They race radicals every single.
Could you say that they're radical?
I meant Ginettas, not radicals. Ginettas. Getting my small British sports car manufacturers mixed up. And they race them pretty much every weekend in the Ginetta GT4 Cup. Colin Waite wins the amateur class every year. Century Motorsports have actually brought along Mark Farmer, who is an Aston Martin driver, I seem to remember.
Mark Farmer? Yeah. Alright, that's an interesting name.
Optimum Motorsports Ginetta have brought along Adrian Barwick, who's done well in the past. Here's the other Limera Cup we mentioned earlier, and I don't know
two of them.
Oh, 2 of them. Yeah, there's 2 more.
So there's 3 in total. Okay.
These both appear to be the same type of car as the one earlier up in the order, but I don't know why they're in SP3 while the other was in SPX. But anyway,
I suspect it's a faster car or something.
Well, they all say the same specs here.
Okay.
And we get 2 of them, both of them just called Limera Cup, so they're probably entered as the Limera factory teams. All French entries for them. CWS, very famous Ginetta team again, have got a second lineup which contains James May. But before everyone asks if that's Captain Slow, it isn't. I get asked that every single time he's in the lineup. It's not him. It's a different James May. Then we have the final SP3
it's the May brothers. It's the James May and Paul May.
James May and Paul May in it, yeah. Along with some other guys. And the final entry in SP3 is the Scan Grip Racing BMW 335i, and they are an all Danish entry with a very nice picture of them going around the carousel at the Nordschleife.
Yes, Danish BMW. I wonder if that'll be the bakery car, the CWS Gen. They're usually in a Porsche Cup car.
CWS?
No, the May brothers. They're usually fielding their own
yes, they are.
Porsche Cup car, but they're in a Ginetta this year, interestingly.
Yeah, they are.
In Cup 1, we have the 131 Hoffer Racing powered by Bonk Motorsport, whatever that means.
This, of course, is the class which is entirely BMW M
BMW
G355i racing
Cups,
cars.
yes. Of Martin Kroll, Michael Schrey, Michael Fischer, Bernd Kupper, and Gustav Engelringer.
Engelringer.
There you go, thank you.
Engelringer? Yeah, something like that.
Sure, yeah.
It's got the umlauts above the A.
Penta can yell at us about the
But
pronunciation.
it's got the L before the J. That's very unusual.
Anyway.
Engelringer.
While you two debate the name, I'm moving on. The second entry in Cup 1 is a 151 Sorgren Sports entry. Only one of note there is one Josh Cagill.
Got a good name.
Yes, because it's Josh. But Josh Cagill, I think, is a British GT driver? BTCC driver? Something like that?
Not now, but I think he was.
I don't think he's done BTCC. I think he's done British GT, though.
Well, he's from somewhere like that. The 152 Sorgren Sports car, 154 QSR Racing School BMW, all Belgian lineup. So Dabs will be happy about that one. 235 Duo Racing from Luxembourg.
Incidentally, Josh Cagill has actually come from Blancpain. He's done a couple of Blancpain entries as recently as 2017, so we should know his name. He's also done some Audi TT Cup racing.
That's where I recognize his name from. A TT Cup, yeah.
Yeah, which is definitely not British, but never mind.
He's British. And we get to the smallest class in the field, which is A2.
It's a bit of a shame, actually, that all the cars are running the 1600 turbo option. 'Cause of course, in that class, you can still run a 2-litre inline-4 naturally aspirated engine.
Yeah, but it's the smallest class in the field, and if everyone finishes, they're guaranteed a podium. So,
yes. And one of the cars has actually got a fairly famous name in it, especially over here in the UK.
Oh, which one is that?
The 162 Sicily Motorsport car's got BTCC race winner and proud Lancastrian Adam Morgan.
Oh, nice.
Lancastrian. Okay.
Yeah, he's from Lancaster.
Well, I
Up
figured
north.
that, but that was just weird. Lancastrian.
Yes.
In a Renault Clio Cup 4, whatever that means.
Well, the fourth generation of Renault Clio Cup.
Clio Cup.
Yes, thank you, Josh. I know, but I have no idea what makes that different from the previous three.
Well, it's just a later variation.
The fact it's based off the current road car and has the 1600cc turbo engine, whereas the old car used to have the
all right, I got it. Okay,
Oh, it's
fine.
all racing at Silverstone, apart from the new one.
Oh god, I've got them started about Renault Clio Cups.
All of the first three generations of Renault Clio Cup I saw racing at... Oh no, I saw the second and third. Yeah, the second and third I saw racing at Silverstone
For
and
God's
Donington,
sake.
going further back. They were some very fun races. There was one year where it was wet and there were cars sliding all over the place and no one knew.
Are you done? Are you done
Yes,
reminiscing about
there's
Renault Clio Cups?
Yes,
So we
because
can
there's
move on.
another Sicily Motorsport car, number 164. That's only got 3 drivers confirmed. And finally, last but not least, we have the number 171, Jonsen Consulting Peugeot RCZ from Denmark with an all-Danish driver lineup. And that's the end of the Dubai 24 hours entry list.
The lone Peugeot RCZ still running.
Although I
Right.
must say that's going to be one to look out for in that class, because that's the car that actually
They
dominated
constantly
that class.
win A2, yes.
Dominated A2
Yes.
in the Kota 24 hours, ahead of the two Hondas, which really didn't actually do that well at all. Now it's had its opponents substituted for Clios. Let's see what they can do. However, I must say, Sicily Motorsport car number 1, the 162, that looks to be a very strong lineup. Frank Bird, I recognise from British Formula 4, and Adam Morgan, of course, is a BTCC driver. So they've both come from that package of racing, the BTCC weekends.
So does Jake Giddings, I think.
Does he? I don't recognise him. He must be an older one. And Max Coates, Max Coates really knows the Clios, because he's been racing in the UK Clio Cup. He's actually in the other car, the 164. So they've got they could really be a team to be on the lookout for, Sicily Motorsport, because they have drivers who really know the Clios in both lineups actually. So look out for Sicily and their Clios. Oh, I love the Clios. I want the Clios to do well.
They won't. They're at the back of the field.
Well, I want them to do well in A2.
Yes.
There's only 2 of them, so if they both run into a GT car, which will inevitably happen because it always does, they'll both be out of the race.
Yes, and the GT
It always
car
happens. You can set your watch by it in this race.
I'm surprised that Team Sally Racing haven't turned up in their old Clio either. Team Sally Racing have been a regular at the Dubai 24 Hours, haven't they?
Say again, sorry?
Team Sally Racing and the older Clio Cup car. I'm
Team
surprised they're not
Saturday
here.
Racing. Probably because they wrecked it, yeah.
Well, they did have an accident last year, but I'm sure I've seen them since then.
Possibly, I don't know. I don't know all the teams by name in the 24H series.
Okay.
But, yeah, since that's done earlier than I was expecting, Rob wanted to do something at the end of the show.
Yes,
worrying?
I did, because when we done the award ceremony last time, I had kind of forgotten about something that happened not long after I joined GTHub. I was on holiday in Malta still at the time, and my parents had brought some churros from the supermarket, and my dad decided to try cooking them. Now, unfortunately, all the instructions for cooking the churros are either in German or Italian. And so he decided to put the churros in the oven.
Yes. The most heinous thing you could possibly do.
Yes, and in the process, upon putting this information out on the GT chat, not only was he getting a bit of a bollocking from you, Falls, but he was also getting a bit of a bollocking from Kazuo and Sir Alfred Herm. Yes, 3 people and a minor diplomatic incident caused by dessert. So I am just about to
Still quite possibly the most disgusting thing I've ever seen on here.
I still don't
in all
entirely
honesty,
know what
you're
Zero
lucky.
is.
In all honesty, Forsey, you're lucky you didn't actually try one afterwards, because they were ruddy awful, frankly.
Oh, God. I can only
They were
imagine.
that bad.
Dry, disgusting churros. Oh,
Yes.
God.
Yes, it was so bad that not long after starting uni, I actually went to Taco Bell in Southampton just to order churros to find out what it was meant to taste like.
Oh, God, that's not a good representation either.
I know.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. So, for having committed a minor diplomatic incident, I'm actually going to quickly, because I've got my phone out here.
This is going brilliantly.
Right, I've got it on speakerphone. If I do that, I can actually hear. Good evening. I would like to congratulate you, Dad, on your award for Minor Diplomatic Incident of the Year.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. Thank you very much, and please... Anytime, Dad, and please, for God's sake, just don't cook churros ever again.
I am honoured for this award.
Great, you're live on YouTube too.
Planned glad to have contributed to the global discussion on churros.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He has very quickly become a GTHub legend.
Yes. Cheers, Dad.
Oh,
Bye.
he's very welcomely embraced it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
What's even funnier is I don't know why I didn't just go downstairs and actually get him up into my room instead of
No,
actually
because
phoning
this
him.
is much more better. You phoned him from inside your own house.
Yes.
Who does that? Okay.
Me. Because I'm too
Oh,
lazy to walk
brilliant.
down the stairs to the living room. So
I'm still the biggest numpty of the year. 2017. No one can take that crown away from me. And my biggest failure. That is mine.
I couldn't even begin to try if I wanted to.
I didn't even try. The best numpty-ish moments happen when you don't even try. That's the whole point of it. I didn't even have to try for mine. I'm just naturally silly.
Any further news points that one of you wish to make? Otherwise,
yes, TF Sport, WEC Super Season for Sally Yollock, Ewan Hankey, and Porsche Carrera Cup GB champion Charlie Eastwood. Bit of a step up, admittedly, going from Carrera Cup GB to World Endurance Championship, but hey, not a bad promotion.
okay. One moment while I get this sorted.
We do also have the ongoing saga of the second Williams seat, which does unfortunately look as if it's going to go to Sergei Sorokin now. It was...
Someone who's a quick driver.
It was looking very promising with Robert Kubica, Pascal Wehrlein, and Paul di Resta dicing over the seat, and any of those three would have been very good for the seat. But unfortunately, it has to go to a driver who didn't do anything last year, and the year before didn't really impress that much in GP2
He won
either.
races in GP2. He raced at Le Mans last year in a god-awful Dallara that was quick in a straight line, but did appear to have some kind of allergic reaction to anything that wasn't considered a straight line, i.e. a corner.
Right.
But
This
he's not a
hasn't been
Formula One driver.
confirmed, and this is
he'll never
just
do that.
speculation. So I'm going to end the show on the current Dakar Rally stats, or standings as of stage 3. Leading the bikes is one... Oh dear, what happened here? There we go. Leading the bikes is the British rider of Sam Sunderland on the Red Bull KTM factory bike. Second is also defending champion, yes. Second is Kevin Benavides for Honda, and third is Ricky Braybrake. So the American is representing well here.
Hooray!
Yes, hooray for Honda. In the quad category, it is Ignacio Casale on the... No idea what it is because it doesn't list it. Second is Alex Hernandez. Third is Pablo Copetti. In the cars, it is Nasser Al-Attiyah for Toyota Gazoo Racing. With the second, third, fourth, and fifth being occupied by Peugeot.
Yes.
With Stefan Peter Hansel, Carlos Sainz, Cyril Dupre, and Sebastian Loeb blocking up the top 5.
And in Formula E news, Jose
Hang
Maria
on. I'm not done yet because we have to do the trucks.
Yes, the big trucks.
The big badass trucks, yes.
With 3 seats.
Is the former WRC driver Federico Villagre in one of the MANs, I believe. And second and third is the Kamaz Master team of Eduard Nikolaev. And then third is Irat Mardiev. So there you go.
Yes. I have 2 last bits of news.
Yes.
Jose Maria Lopez!
That's not news. I'm ending. Goodbye. No, I'm kidding.
has replaced Neil Yarni at Dragon Racing for the rest of the season. It was an amicable split between Yarni and the Dragon Racing team. And finally, the best news of all, arguably the biggest scumbag in recent years in motorsport, Scott Tucker, has been sentenced to more than 16 years at a penitentiary somewhere after being convicted over his payday lending business.
Yes, well done.
The absolute moron.
I would actually classify him as a scumbag, but
yes,
sure.
he is a scumbag as well.
And on that wonderful note, we shall end the very first episode of 2018. And from now on, instead of Mondays, we will be broadcasting live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m.
Yeah, mainly because I have just wrecked everyone's schedules by signing up for a Sim League on Mondays. So,
which is fine, it doesn't bother me.
It also means that I won't actually be half dead from having to run to Southampton train station from uni straight after producing a radio show.
Oh, good, I've done a favour then. Jolly good.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Yes, thank you. It is jolly good. Thank you. Thank you.
Very unnumpty of you. But yes, on that note, we shall sign off. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you later.